Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With fishingbooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. Fishingbooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to fishingbooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. The MLB at Field of Dreams returns. Bryce Harper and the Philadelphia Phillies face Byron Buxton and the Minnesota Twins at the iconic Field of Dreams ballpark. The field is calling. Watch the MLB at Field of Dreams game live on Netflix Thursday, August 13th at 7:30 p.m. Eastern, 4:30 p.m. Pacific.
All right, welcome back to the Survival and Basic Badass Podcast, Kevin and Chuck. So today we're going to talk about what should the government do to help prepare for any of these coming disasters. I'm talking about economic collapse. I'm talking about an EMP. Basically, I'm talking about food ain't getting to your house through trucks and grocery stores, so now you got a problem. What can they do to help prepare and prevent that? Now, it was funny, I just got an email from a listener, Ryan, who had sent us a message and was talking about, what happens when, like, things related to the government shutdown, food stamps aren't going out on time. He was saying, maybe in March when the funding for this stuff, comes around and stuff like that, things might not, play out. Now, it's kind of seems like a long shot, but that's basically the kind of, upset, because all of a sudden when all the people in the grocery store, their EBT card doesn't work, all of a sudden, oh my God, let me tip over carts and throw a cart through the window out front, or whatever. And then if you ain't giving it to me, I'm just going to take it.
Yep.
That kind of shit. So definitely that could turn ugly quick. I mean, if you stop funding EBT or those government programs, you got to like wean it off. If that stuff, happens cold turkey, even if you cut their money in half, or if you're like, oh, you can't buy ding-dongs anymore, you just get bread and, I don't know, rice and freaking beans.
Well, especially, a lot of people, I don't want to say most of, but a lot of those people that were receiving those people, benefits.
Kevin, those people.
You know who I'm talking about? I'm talking about the Asians. I'm not joking, because I have an Asian friend.
Oh, if you know somebody.
I have an Asian friend who would sell her EBT stuff, her food stamps and whatnot.
Earned benefit. Thank you.
Yeah, okay. Excuse me.
All right.
She would sell them so she could buy booze. And when you got a serious alcoholic like that, man,
watch out.
Watch out.
No, I knew an Asian who would sell stuff to buy booze, but it was different.
Different
what
situation.
She was selling.
Huh?
Yeah,
okay.
It was an EBT.
All right, not to get too far off a topic.
Okay, just checking.
Mm-hmm.
So basically, some suggestions of, steps that the government might take to kind of help avoid catastrophe.
Mm-hmm.
So, Kevin, you had some insight, maybe at the federal level? Anything?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the problem is that, the United States spends a lot of money, defending, and preparing, defending infrastructure and preparing. But, a lot of the things that they're defending against, like terrorist bombings and water poisoning and stuff like that. And that's all real threats.
And making
but it's
sure
really
that
just,
veterans don't rise up against them.
Yeah, it's really just
or you might carry a sharp pen onto the plane and get past
scissors,
the TSA guy.
Scissors, you're trying to get on with scissors.
I see what you did with that toenail clipper.
Yep. And I actually had to get on a plane this last week, and it was horrific.
Yeah?
No body cavity searches this
Thank
time.
God. My last experience, my last 3 or 4 were pretty good.
Yeah.
TSA were like, yeah, you're good.
Yeah, they seemed like they gave zero shits, though, because none of them were getting paid, so that was probably why it wasn't too bad.
That's it.
I'm not searching that hairy guy's cavities for nothing.
Nope. Cash on the barrel head for that, right?
That's right. But, a lot of the things that, they haven't done a whole lot to protect the electrical grid.
No.
From EMP stuff, solar flares.
Now, Trump actually said he was going to start implementing some of that.
He did say
and we
some
haven't
of that.
heard any follow-up on that at all.
Mm-hmm.
And, sometimes he just says things.
He says a lot of things.
It's been my experience where he's like, yeah, that. And then you're like, oh, okay.
Yep. And, a lot of the other stuff that I would be concerned about is that I think they're working on, but I don't know how capable they are, is cyber espionage when it comes to utilities.
Yes.
One of the things I see a lot of, especially New York City, when they have, power outages and stuff, they don't seem like they have a very good evacuation plan.
No.
There's a few bridges and tunnels going on and off that island.
Lincoln Tunnel,
And
maybe you're hiking on the 2 layers of the George Washington Bridge.
Yeah.
It's not going to be good. Sketchy at best. But I think, there's a lot that our government could do that they're not doing. I feel like they're misallocating funds, in my opinion, on some of this nonsense. Okay.
And, maybe,
right.
maybe
So
we should talk
one
to
of the things is, the grocery stores. They get resupplied,
Right.
on-time delivery, I think they call it, right?
Right, got to keep that produce fresh.
Got to keep it fresh. So everything's like 3 days. So, they say, if the refineries got shut down or the power grid, so when I say the power grid goes down, then, all right, we have no gas to run the trucks, because your gas stations aren't even pumping, right?
Right.
You have generators for a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
but, and they're a gas station, maybe they can keep it going with a generator. I don't know. But bottom line, that infrastructure gets shut down quick. One of the things I was kind of thinking about is trains.
Right.
Having an organized and established plan to keep the trains going and have them able to get out to people and really, reach out to everybody could be huge, and especially in an EMP. So imagine cars stop on the highway, everything's at a standstill, you got all the roads blocked and whatever. It's going to be a logistics nightmare to get 18-wheelers to bring supplies to people.
Really?
Now, again, you could set up like dump trucks with snow plows and having them clear the road, but then you have ambushes and different things. A lot of dangers go along with that.
Right.
And there's a lot of logistic problems. So I was thinking, if we maybe hardened some train, systems kind of set up, some extra, maybe 20 of the locomotive, engines were, hardened. It can't cost that much in the scheme of things of what we spend on everything.
Right.
What would that take? And that could be huge on getting supplies, because you're probably not robbing a train. You might rob it when it gets where it's going.
Right.
But you don't have to really worry about it along the road, I guess you can pull up tracks. I've seen that play out.
Yeah.
But it kind of ends badly when they pull up tracks. So there's things like that I think the federal government could do. Also, I think like ready.gov maybe needs to step it up. When you hear those commercials, they're like, everybody should have a 2 or 3 day supply of food and water in case there's an emergency. Well, what if they stepped it up to telling everybody you should have a 2-week supply? What if, during like a State of the Union, the president was like, as Americans, we're proud, self-reliant people, and, we built this country on self-reliance and being able to take care of ourselves, and with all the different disasters and hurricanes and floods and different things that can happen, I'd really like to encourage every American family to, have a 2-week supply of food in their house to just be ready for whatever comes and be able to help out your neighbors if there's a need, or be able to take care of your own. Would something like that maybe inspire people a little bit? If the president says it, then
everybody hears about it, regardless of whether it's a good idea or a bad idea. Yeah.
But I mean, obviously, I'd like them to say a month, 2 months, have 6 months of food.
Right.
Then America would really be cool. But, I don't know. To me, that seems like something that could really make a difference. I mean, everybody's so desperate, like in 2 days. Oh, my God.
Right.
It's the end of the world.
We're all dying. We're all dying. We don't have any water. Yep.
We just had the snowstorm, and the stores were like, look, we're going to freaking run out of, we're going to have snow, and you're not going to be able to go to the store for 2 days. 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's like worst case.
Right.
You could probably go tomorrow, but it might be 2 days. My wife works at a, convenience store kind of place, and they ran out of gas at the pumps like by 9 a.m. the day before.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, because the snowstorm's coming, they shut down delivery trucks on the thruway because they were like, oh, can't have tanker trucks out on the thruway.
Right.
But they got a delivery the night before.
Really?
And ran out at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Mm-hmm.
And she said people were in there buying 4 gallons of milk. And she's like, what are you doing?
Right.
That's not going to be...
That's not going to be your problem.
I mean, I know at my house, it's going to take at least 4 weeks to go through 4 gallons of milk.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know.
Yeah, I did. I have to say, I did do a little bit of emergency shopping.
Oh?
The night before. I went and got a bottle of Jameson and some beer. So... I was
Was
fully...
there a big line at the liquor store?
No, actually, I think everybody was at the grocery store.
You nailed it.
I had that one on lock.
Next thing, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of all I really was thinking about for the federal. I feel like when you're at a crisis, the federal government is so far removed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
I mean, we could talk about FEMA maybe staging things. I know they have a lot of stuff out in like Florida and Ready and whatever, generators, that kind of thing. But
well, this is I got a quote here from Brock Long.
Tell us.
Who's the administrator of FEMA. Brock Long sounds like a porn name. I'm not sure what his
Does he have one of those like awesome mustaches?
I don't know. I didn't see a picture of him.
All
but
right.
It said if you're waiting for FEMA to run your commodities, that's the wrong solution. What he's saying is basically, when it comes to, getting things back online, that's your problem, not FEMA's problem.
Not FEMA's problem.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do infrastructure.
No.
All right.
No, and I don't think they help you implement your plans.
They do camps in blue tents, though.
That's right.
And like chili lines.
Ham and cheese sandwich.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, I mean, we could talk about like staging a little bit more, money and resources, but I feel like your efforts, we really shouldn't be turning to the government. Obviously, as preppers, we like to think of more of the self-reliant.
Yeah, well, this is more of a socialist episode. We're kind of talking more about
right. I'm just saying, if the government's pissing away stuff, this is what they should be doing.
Yeah.
Because, everybody has lots of opinions of, you guys should take care of me, or you should do whatever, but nobody fucking ever offers solutions.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm trying to do a solution episode for you.
Right.
So
we're talking about the old folks home and the hospitals and,
look out for those. So next, let's move down to like the community level. Mm-hmm. I know we're kind of skipping the states and whatever, but in New York, really, is Cuomo going to do anything for us? I mean,
if it doesn't make him any money, he's not going to do anything.
Cuomo just, he might pat himself on the back.
Uh-huh.
I know you guys are all seeing our boy Chuck Schumer out there representing.
Yes. Oh, he makes me so angry. Every time I see him, I want to punch him in the face.
The ongoing joke before his recent success in power was there's never like a car accident or wherever where Chuck Schumer doesn't show up to be like, this traffic light, this isn't right. And now I guess he does it at the bigger level.
Yeah,
here.
he's such a fucking clown.
He's a jackass. But anyway, moving right along, speaking well of our government. So another thing that we could talk about, like more at the community level, is like police stations could have like a Faraday cage.
Mm-hmm.
And you guys have heard our Faraday cage episode. I mean, it could be a trash can.
Right.
It doesn't need to be,
Yeah, it really doesn't need to be anything complex.
You could spend 10 grand and make a fancy room.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, I'm assuming you already have a room. Spend 10 grand. We could make it into a Faraday cage. Mm-hmm. Send me an email. I'll talk you into how to do it.
Yep.
But, whatever. No big deal. So you could do that, or you could even just have a garbage can. But bottom line, if police stations had like...
Yeah, I mean, radios.
Like I was thinking a bunch of handheld radios.
Mm-hmm.
And you can buy those sets for nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Handheld radios, throw a couple laptops in there, maybe some GPS,
mm-hmm.
And some bigger maybe ham radio stuff.
Right.
I mean, what would that would be nothing in your, municipal budget.
Right.
And honestly,
money they should be spending anyway.
Even as a prepper, maybe if you got the extra funds, maybe you donate that to your local police. Mm-hmm. I mean, them sticking around and having a plan. And I think, honestly, having a plan in place is going to be a big part of success or not. And I don't mean like they actually have to do anything. I mean, if a disaster happens and stuff goes bad and people, they need to have like a plan for how the schedule is going to work at, people taking shifts or coming in. Or maybe you can't get to work anymore. Everybody lives 20 miles away, 30 miles away. Well, you have an EMP and all the cars don't work. Mm-hmm. All right, maybe you can't get to work anymore. But what if we look at a quick map and say, gee, I have 10 guys work at the sheriff's station and they all live here, 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 and here. What if anything ever happens, you guys each become responsible for your little area?
Right.
But if this is discussed beforehand, you could really make a big difference. And this is like a simple conversation. Mm-hmm. This isn't, and radios would be huge. I mean, if you're the only guys that got them, I mean, radios multiply your manpower effectiveness so many times. It's unbelievable. That's why I always preach, for your homestead. If you don't make a little, EMP cage, Faraday cage to throw some radios in, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. Because, having one guy stand on watch and, everybody else have a radio at the other end mm-hmm. where he can say, hey, I got a problem here, and you can all man up. Instead, you need 10 guys out at the gate all the time.
Right. Because
you got to be ready for whatever hits you. So, just something to think about. That, or maybe invest in a big bell.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Hey, to each his own, right?
Mm-hmm.
But little steps, I think, that would barely affect the budget could make a huge difference. Instead, we spend bullshit on like bullying programs and billboards with kids going through mom's fucking purse trying to get the fucking handgun.
Oh, the handgun.
The handgun. No, I keep seeing it. Mom's always leaving her fucking
prescription drugs
handgun.
kill more people than handguns, but
damn those billboards.
Mm-hmm.
Just a thought. Next thing, local police department could have a plan to secure the local pharmacies, the local grocery store. If something goes bad,
that makes a lot of sense.
We need to, because it's going to happen in the first day,
right?
And you guys are going to be thinking about things, 3-4 days. All right, what do we do? Things are starting to get out of hand and a problem. Mm-hmm. It's already too late.
Right.
They've already thrown the chair through the window of the grocery store and things are ending badly. Whereas if you can say, hey, but I also think having a plan to deputize. Mm-hmm. This is another huge point that I want to make is one, I know nobody wants to give any extra power out, and nobody likes to trust anybody. And I mean, I hear about places like LA where they don't even want their law enforcement guys carrying their gun off duty because God forbid you just go out of control. So they like to keep law enforcement as the tight-knit community. But if you had volunteer sheriffs or volunteer whatever that met for training once a month and did a 3-hour thing and just list them as your auxiliary whatever,
Right.
you give them a little sticker that maybe they'll get out of a speeding ticket one day or something, and they show up for training for once a month, and depending how big your town is, you have 10 auxiliary guys, 20 auxiliary guys, 30 auxiliary guys, whatever, that you can
And it could
call up.
even be basic stuff like traffic control.
No, yeah,
and,
exactly.
You know, things that you don't even have to.
Right,
it's not
no,
like forming a
I'm
hanging
not saying you're
posse.
issuing them guns.
Right.
I'm not, none
Maybe
of that.
issue nunchucks. but-
Nunchucks?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Definitely.
Or the butterfly knives.
Yes.
Nice, right?
Uh-huh.
But that's the thing. Like, if you had an auxiliary, whatever, with a little bit of training, they don't need guns. They don't need bulletproof vests. It'd be cool if you were like, hey, you should get a concealed carry and, at least have a shotgun, whatever.
Yeah.
Then when the day comes, hey, if something happens, Johnny, I want you and whatever to work out a shift because you live right over by that pharmacy. I want you to go secure it and make sure crackheads don't go over and rob it blind.
Right.
Because guess what? If you had a big disaster and all of a sudden your, CVS or whatever is looted for all that stuff, that's huge. Cause it's huge for your community's survival. I don't care about CVS losing their money and whatever. I don't really give a crap. But it's huge for your community's survival. And being able to secure things quickly, I mean, to me, that seems like an obvious step that I would want to take. And I would also, if you're not taking that step, or maybe even in addition to that step, I would look at your, how I mentioned, you maybe have your sheriff guys in the different areas in the community, maybe give them the authority. If you're unable to get in touch with whatever, then you're authorized to deputize however you see fit.
Right.
And you start implementing stuff. Now, when you do stuff like this, you can also kind of skate around the whole martial law thing. And if you have a decent sheriff who cares about his community, then, having your good, maybe checked out beforehand guys that you planned out, all of a sudden deputizing them when things start turning to shit, having extra guns. Because, I don't know, I watch these riots and things unfold. Things get out of hand fast.
Yeah, it happens quick.
And there is not enough police to handle when everybody turns crazy. And having a plan in place to be able to say, all right, these 20 guys we trust.
Right.
And instead we get all these cops in New Orleans or whatever when Katrina happens. Oh, nobody should have a gun because we don't know who's good and bad and we can't trust anybody.
Right.
And we're all scared for our lives. So you should all be defenseless.
Because they don't know anybody in the community.
And there's no connection.
Right.
But that's something I would like to see, where you guys could really reach out, do some kind of vetting and, really kind of work together. And like I said, your local sheriff guy, you can't tell me he doesn't know 5 guys. And if you gave him the authority, look, until you can reach command, then, kind of do what you see fit to handle business.
Right.
And obviously you can say, you know what? Everybody's still accountable for what they do. Murder is still murder. Whatever. That's not a problem. But the idea is, I'm not saying everybody should turn into vigilantes. I'm saying if you have some kind of organized
have a resource
structure,
of competent people,
then you could, kind of implement things a little bit better. Just saying, that's a little something you guys, could make the difference. And another thing, my next step would be maybe double the gas reserves. One, by having a second gas tank at your, police station or whatever, in addition to whatever municipal resource they use.
Yeah,
Right.
usually
have,
Public Works has
Right.
you
whatever,
know.
and the cop cars fill up there or whatever. I mean,
Mhm.
I always see like Stadies and stuff around here using the regular gas pumps, but I know a lot of towns have their own. And I would say, what would it take to double? Have a second tank?
Mm-hmm.
And with that, you could buy gas when it's cheaper. You
Right.
could kind of plan things out, which is going to kind of almost pay for itself in the long run.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, that seemed like a good...
That's not even really an extra cost,
right.
if it's being used.
Another thing municipalities could look at is authorizing non-ethanol fuels.
Mm-hmm.
Non-ethanol gas lasts a lot longer.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a bullshit tax to throw money to the corn people, but whatever. That's something you may want to look into.
Right.
I'm just throwing a bone there. Municipalities having solar.
Yeah, that's a big one. When it comes to power and power failures, that's really the leading cause of death and disasters. People's heat goes out, in the middle of winter. People, one of the major things is, having an emergency notification system. It's great. They run, alerts on TV. They run stuff on the radio. But if everybody's power is out, they're not getting any of those notifications.
No.
Nobody knows that there's a flash flood or there's a, tornado coming if it's already knocked the power out. We've had some of those situations here where ice storms knocked out the power, and then nobody has any idea about,
a tornado coming.
Right.
Or whatever.
Anything else happening.
Yeah.
And I think that's, most of you guys should have a, hand crank radio. They're not expensive, but that's you. That's not the entire community.
Right. No, exactly. Next thing, and so with that, I mean, you guys know how I feel about the government taking our money and then offering grants so they can manipulate us into doing whatever they want.
Right.
If you make everybody's speed limit 55 miles an hour, then we'll give you money.
Right.
If you teach this in school, we'll give you money that we already took away from you.
Right.
Right. I don't like that. I'm not cool with that, so don't turn on me. But I'm just saying there's a shit ton of municipal grants or grants that people can get from the federal government.
Right.
For municipalities to throw solar on there.
Yeah, that's a big one they're pushing right now.
They're pushing this stuff hard. And if you could talk your community into saying, hey, we have these town hall building, the library, the whatever, the police station.
Yeah. Whatever your local shelter is, a lot of them is, a lot of the local shelters are the town hall.
Right.
And are these buildings. Having power there, you have a lot of people that are coming into these places when they have power outages and things like that because they, their AC doesn't work and it's 120 degrees out.
Right.
It's situations like that. Well, if the power is out at the town hall, they probably have a generator. They're probably run on gas. You got 2 days.
Right. And then, we could talk about, you could look into stepping up with the Faraday cage, having, extra inverters and stuff for the solar panels to ensure that they go through an EMP.
Mm-hmm.
But, maybe an EMP isn't what takes us out. And having solar panels is huge. And guess what? Those solar panels still have value. Even if you do have your inverters blown out, there's still ways you can implement that to, get things in there. Another thought that I had was, how cool would it be if we started putting a hand pump well in all the municipal parks?
That's a great idea. I hadn't even thought
or
of that.
Behind like the police station or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Have these things as like a local fixture.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't cost much.
No.
A lot of them can be very shallow, and the stuff they do, you've heard me talk about doing like well points, how you can drive in. You could have your public works guys do most little hand wells.
Mm-hmm.
And I know everybody gets uptight, the testing and it's got to be, whatever. Yeah, whatever.
whatever.
do what you want.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, something like that could be huge, a huge resource. If everybody could go get clean water, are you kidding me? How big of a difference that would make?
Right.
Because, guess what? All your little streams and creeks and whatever, if you live in any kind of crowded area, it's turning this shit fast.
Right. Once the power goes out, you have about 3 days. Unless it's a flood, then you have 0 days. You're flushing the toilet, it's going directly into the water. There's no, there's a bypass that when shit like that goes on, it just goes past the wastewater plants and goes into your streams and rivers.
Yeah.
It's poop. That's poop and toilet paper and tampons and all the nasty stuff. Used condoms, they're all floating in the stream.
Why does it always have to come down to used condoms?
I don't know. It's awful, though.
But it always does.
They're there.
So, yeah, I mean, hand pump wells, just throwing them everywhere you can is huge. That would make such a difference, and these things would be such low cost
right
in the scheme of things. And I know it's kind of coming from a crazy place, but, any of you on town boards and influencers and different things, or you have the ear of the right guy, I'm just saying any of these ideas might not be a bad one.
Right. Now, I've got like a 5-point plan here. Now, some of these stuff
Kevin,
we've already talked about.
All right.
But we can just go over them quickly. Partnering with local emergency groups, food banks, prepping groups, that sort of stuff. When you have an emergency, having the resources and the contacts to get a hold of these groups makes a big difference.
It does.
And you can do that sort of stuff and at the same time work on community education and individual safety.
Nice.
Interacting with the local community is real big. That's basically identifying the problem areas. And I don't mean problem areas by like where the gangs hang out. I mean problem areas like retirement homes, like handicap living facilities,
the preschool,
schools in general. Have a open meeting for the community as far as preparedness goes. You know what I mean? Just having ideas, just having people offer ideas, opinions, and then you can use that to create a community plan. A
lot of local sheriffs, like offer classes on preparedness, self-reliance, that kind of thing.
Right.
That's a big thing in our community. I don't know, I don't know what other people are doing. And maybe if you're the fire department, you put one up. Maybe you talk to your fire department and they'll let you offer a class, Who knows?
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of the people that are listening to this podcast, I'm blown away by some of the preps that some of the guys have showed me that they've got.
Yeah, a lot of guys stepping it up. A lot of the guys that listen to this podcast really are pros when it comes to that. I love going to the Facebook page because there's all sorts of great ideas and crazy people out there doing really neat stuff. There's a lot of great ideas. And the thing is, like, you're like, well, yeah, I have mine and I don't want to tip my hand. But the more prepared the people around you are, they're going to become allies instead of threats.
Right. That's a good point.
That's something to definitely consider.
We all talk about, having security and arming yourself, but, if you can minimize that threat, if all the people around you in your community are prepared.
I try and have an AR-15 for every person in my community is what I'm working towards.
We're working towards that? Yeah. All right. I like that.
I like the way you're thinking. 1,000 rounds each. So, I want to be able to help out.
Right. Number 4 is create a emergency notification system. Now, we had talked about that roughly, when we were talking about solar power.
Yep.
But, having a way to contact people, and maybe it's just going door to door. Do you have people that can go to door? Do you have people that know the people in the community that
Paul
you can
Revere
contact
and his
them?
horse?
That's right. The Minutemen
and that other guy that we never remember who he is.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, that rode with Paul Revere.
Dude,
yeah,
I don't remember who he is either.
The one who didn't get all confused and stop talking to everybody or whatever. He just did his job.
Right, that guy.
That guy.
Mm-hmm. And then, the 5th idea is like a worst case scenario situation. Have an evacuation plan.
Yes.
You know, a lot of people just have no idea where they would go or how they'd, you know, I've been in traffic jams where I've wanted to punch people in the face. That's like a running theme throughout my entire life.
You've been to the grocery store where you wanted to punch people in the face.
I have huge rage issues when it comes to people acting retarded in the street.
Right.
I'm not supposed to say retarded. I have huge problems with R words when they act up. But you know what I mean? If you have basic evacuation routes and then backup, you know, alternate routes that you can distribute to people.
Yeah.
That makes a big difference when it comes to actually implementing the situation. And you also have to plan for evacuating groups that aren't evacuating themselves. You know, and that was a big issue during Katrina. You know, there are a lot of people that either weren't able or weren't willing to leave.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, if you're not willing to go, that's fine. Whatever. I mean, I'd say if you think you can handle it, whatever. But there's still a lot of groups that, you know, just can't get out.
Right.
So I think, you know, with those 5 ideas, I think you can cover a lot of bases. And I think that's really a big deal as far as being a prepper and preparing yourself and protecting your own situation just through making the people around you more prepared themselves.
I think that's huge. Another thing, like, it's hard to picture, you know, when you live in the more civilized, bigger communities, but a lot of these small towns just rely on the state police and don't even have their own law enforcement.
Right.
And when there's problems going on in the big cities in your state, they're going to call the state police into there to handle it, and you're kind of going to be on your own.
Yeah.
Now, mayors and councilmen and different things, you may want to consider after things go bad, you know, if you don't plan for something like we talked about, but throwing together a little police force and deputizing people just right out of the gate. Oh, you know, hey, you know, John, you're whatever. You could even take, you know, hey, this councilman that we trust that's kind of organized. You know what? Why don't you be the police chief and get 5 guys together and do a little something and create a little, because by giving people titles and authority and having a plan will, you know, give them a lot more power. And it really could make the difference in saving things.
If I've learned anything from Stephen King and...
yeah, small towns can go bad.
Yeah, exactly. Walking Dead, you can't trust your mayor when emergencies happen.
No.
This might be your chance to seize power.
Really?
Just saying.
All right.
You probably outgun him.
I'd just lock him in a closet. You know, that's easy right out of the gate. So, I mean, that's the gist of it. The bottom line, I don't know. I mean, I would kind of take some of this to heart. Well, you're looking at your papers like you got something. You're good?
No, I'm good.
All right. So, bottom line, if you're a sheriff, if you're on the town council and whatever, just things you can do to make your community a little bit more aware and having a plan. I mean, I kid you not, having these discussions at the police department beforehand, you know, and saying, hey, you know, what could we do? What could we, you know, let's look at it. Looking at a map and spending 20 minutes and saying, you know, you guys, you're all spread out here. You two could get together because you're close and you guys, whatever. If you, instead of coming to work, because that would be stressful, but if you could work out a shift between the two of you and monitor this area. And that way you can kind of keep an eye on your family and whatever, because guess what? That's going to be better than them not showing up at all.
Right.
And like I said, reaching out and expanding, maybe deputizing a little force just so that you can secure things like the pharmacy, the grocery store, the whatever. Because if you let people destroy all your resources before it's time. And also, the only other thing I feel that we neglected to mention is really towns should have a little long-term food storage, MREs, that kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's
put
a great
away
idea.
if something, you know, again, that can eat into your budget really quick, and it's hard to, you know, a lot of people, whatever. That's going to be tough. I'm not sure that's the right answer, but kind of making your community aware and having little town meetings and offering some, preparedness classes might be the alternative to that. If you don't want to spend the money and stockpile a little for your community, then maybe, encourage them to prepare themselves. So that's what I got on that. But, hey, maybe if you're uncomfortable, you're like, I don't really like talking to people and whatever. Maybe you have them listen to this episode.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you're like, hey, you know what, Mayor? You know what? It'd be cool. Just check this out and see what you think. Get their take on it. I don't know. I mean, I think these couple of little steps could make a huge difference in how your community's going to fare. And that's what I got. That's
all right. I want to touch on a few of the
some emails.
Emails we got, yeah. Now, Ian and Paul contacted us to explain the UK. We had talked about that, was it last episode or the episode before?
Yeah, 2 or 3 ago.
About us being completely illiterate when it comes to Great Britain and the UK. They sent me videos. They explained it in paragraphs, in detail. I still don't get shit.
Oh, I thought you were going to explain it to us.
I got nothing. I know the Great Britain is 3 countries. It's Wales,
we
Scotland,
did forget Wales in
England.
our initial discussion.
That's right. And Northern Ireland is normally included in that. But there's 2 islands. There's the island of Brittany, Great Britain, and there's the island of Ireland. Now, then there's a Commonwealth, which is like 50, 60, 70 countries, like Canada and Australia. That's about as deep as I could discern, but check it out. It is somewhat interesting. Now, Ben sent us an email wanting to know what you would save with an when it comes to an EMP. You're saving electronic storage. What do you got on your iPod that future generations need to know about?
Pac-Man?
Pac-Man, yes. I think that's a great idea.
Yeah, I nailed it.
Yeah, I just got a new Nintendo. I don't mean a new Nintendo, a new old Nintendo.
Yeah.
And I've been rocking Pac-Man, Mario 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
Punch-Out, which is not Mike Tyson's Punch-Out
really?
anymore. No, it's just Punch-Out. Dream Man is the Mike Tyson now.
And he looks like Mike Tyson?
He's a guest star. I haven't got that far yet.
You don't know.
I've only gotten to the...
is there that sting like a butterfly, whatever?
Pop Pazinski is as far as I've gotten in the game yet. So I'll keep you updated.
Move like a butterfly, sting like a bee, something.
Now me, what I would put in my iPod that I was going to, store in my Faraday cage. All the Survival and Basic Badass podcast episodes. That's
smart. Smart. Right there. That's just good.
Yep.
I mean, all that wisdom packed in there.
Packed.
Plus the entertainment value. It's like, gee, I have to live without TV. Wait, Kevin and Chuck. That sounds excellent.
Yep. Pantera, Iron Maiden, Metallica, Nirvana. Got to throw some old blues in there. I'm a big blues guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Robert Johnson.
Muddy Waters, Robert Johnson. Oof.
Oh, all
It's
right.
good stuff, man.
All right. Maybe some AC/DC.
AC/DC, that's a good call.
Yep.
Good call.
And like, the old albums, right?
Right.
If he's not wearing a dress, then it's not the right album.
I hate to hurt Chuck's feelings, but I think I would go most of the glam rock. Poison. I don't know about you. Bon Jovi. Not so sure.
No, huh? That's fair. It's fair.
But yeah, I mean that's a good idea though. Is what would you save? What would you save for posterity? I don't know. Let's get some emails. You guys tell me what you think.
All right, that sounds right.
Now we talked about Ryan talking about a show on current affairs. I think we might do a more in-depth current affairs episode coming up in the next few months. But we've got a few episodes stacked up.
I'm always afraid I'm going to get on some political rant and piss everyone off.
Well, I think that's why we should do it, because you and I have very differing opinions on everything, probably.
True.
But I think we could do a good episode with that. We've got a few episodes coming up here that we've already got lined up. So I think we've got a good few episodes coming up in the next month or so.
I think there's something on how to ambush someone.
Ambush sounds like the future. You know, I used to live next to a bar called Ambush. Mm-hmm, and when I moved in there, I was talking to my roommate.
You didn't want to be a young lady coming out of there late at night, I'm guessing.
No, that was not the situation. You would think that would make sense. No, this is a different kind of ambush altogether. One that was even more terrifying. Because he goes, you should go down there. It's a great bar. You'll love it. The way he said that, I was immediately suspicious.
And you were like, how come I've never seen a lady go into that bar?
Exactly. But I did see ladies go in there because it was a drag queen bar.
And
that's the ambush. You pick up a nice young lady and take her back to your place.
And surprise, surprise.
Ambush. That's not the type of ambush we're talking about on the podcast, though.
That sounds wrong.
All right. So anything else?
I think that's it.
If you guys want to email us at preppingbadass@gmail.com.
Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/preppingbadass. Also, you can check out our Facebook page, facebook.com/preppingbadass.
Mm-hmm. I try and go through the Facebook every day, and because there really is a lot of interesting stuff people are putting up on there, interesting ideas, interesting little projects that they're working on. A lot of really cool stuff.
So, with that, stay safe, and we'll talk to you guys next week.
The Survival and Basic Badass podcast is a proud member of the Self-Defense Radio Network.
Planning a fishing trip shouldn't feel like a full-time job. With FishingBooker.com, you can find and book the perfect fishing trip within minutes. FishingBooker.com connects you with trusted fishing captains around the world. Booking is fast, easy, and secure, with access to verified customer reviews, loyalty rewards, and around-the-clock customer support. Everything you need to book with confidence is in one place. So head to FishingBooker.com and start planning your next fishing adventure today.